Hey, yo, what's up? This is Lyfe Jennings right here, and you know I got soul.
Our life. So the new album Tree of Life is coming in June. Had the great album Lucid back in 2013. So let's talk about when you knew it was time to go move on from that album and get started on this new project.
I'm a funny guy. I don't really like write songs for albums, man. I just write all of these songs, and if they fit into an album that's coming, then I put them on it. So I'm actually always writing. Like even now, I'm done with the Tree of Life, but I've already started working on the next project.
So as you were going along and you talked about creating songs as you go, how did you know you had a body of work ready that you could put these songs back to back and create a project out of it?
You know what? I think you never know. I think you just keep creating, and when your deadline come, you just pour some songs together, man. I probably got like 4 or 5 more bodies of work already done, man. I just continuously writing.
Now, I was reading that you called this album your most personal work to date. What made that the case?
Lies, man. I did not say that. Like people keep on saying you know, every album I give myself a 2-year period to go through different experiences, man, and then I write about those experiences. So saying that this is my most personal album to date would be nonsense because my last album was the most personal at that point because that's what I went through for 2 years, you know?
You talk about going through these experiences and seeing things. Now, Pretty is first single, a conscious record that like we're used to hearing from you. Is that something you've seen? Is that a story you've seen, as you've been through?
Yeah, the stripper game is phenomenally well right now, right? It is an epidemic, and so you hear a lot of cats like Usher, which is one of my favorite artists, and he like, I don't mind. You can stay out all night, get your bread. See, I mind. I don't want you staying out till 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, coming home smelling like wet wipes. Like, I mean, I'm not hating on nobody, but me particularly, that's not in my to-do list, you know?
How does a record like Pretty Is or S.E.X kind of come together? Is it more that you have this motivation to create this type of record, or are you just moved by the production, or like how does that timetable kind of fit together?
Well, sometimes I move by the production, yeah. For these 2 particular records, it was just scenarios that I had seen and I wanted to write about. But I never immediately jumped, on any topic. I let it find me. And I'll find a melody, I'll find a beat, and it'll just come by itself because I don't want it to sound forced. So none of these songs that I say, hey, I'm going to write a song about love or write a song about sex. It's just that I always had an experience with love or sex, and I rated into the song formulated itself,
I think the truthfulness in your music keeps you kind of ahead of the crowd. I always say that music kind of has a full circle. So back then it was good to talk about certain things like love, and like records like Cry. You talk about your emotion and you kind of stand ahead of that. How do you keep that going? How do you stay pushed and motivated to kind of stay ahead of the crowd and not necessarily just make records to put something out, but put something out that's positive and meaningful?
I just keep on going through life, man. Like, I'm a dude that's not afraid to live life. I'm not afraid to be hurt. I'm not afraid to lose. I'm not afraid to win. But even more importantly, a lot of times a good situation can be wasted upon you, not just necessarily a bad. So all these situations that I go through, I just really feel like that God puts me through because he knows I'm going to write about them, whatever it may be. My happy time's going to be real happy, and I'm going to tell you how I got so happy. But them damn bad times, they're part of it, so we got to write about them too,
So sonically on Tree of Life, did you introduce any new elements? What can we expect, the sound of the project?
A lot of hollering, a lot of emotional stuff, man. I think, again, I haven't introduced anything new per se because the truth is never new. It's always the same old truth. I think maybe I made the beats a little more contemporary, a little more urban, But that's, on the cats that do their production thing again. Like, I let them do that, and I take care of the lyrics.
So you talked about just always creating, always being in there creating new music. What is your goal when creating music? Because when you talk to a lot of Lyfe Jennings fans, they love how the music is so personal. They can feel it. The lyrics speak to them. What is your goal? What do you try to set out to create?
I want to be a cat library. I want to be like, how you go on the internet and you can find out the history from the 40s or the 30s or whatever, just like that. I want to be a cat go-to library when they're going through something emotionally. Even if I've been dead and gone 30 years, I want this whole body of work to be right there. As soon as they kid go through something, they can say, hey, all right, we can pull this Lyfe Jennings album out right here. This is what you're going through. Listen to this. Yeah.
Has it ever crossed your mind to maybe take it a step further and make something like a musical or something that's visual for those to kind of put, things together with, all your stories and things that you've been through?
Yeah, I actually would. I'm actually, we doing a tour this year, and it's called My Funny Life. And it's actually the comedian, and he telling stories about my life. And as he get to certain junctures of my life, then I come out and I sing the song. So it's almost like a play. I'm going to kind of script it like a play, you know what I'm saying, just to give somebody different and, like you say, the visual.
And now we're over a decade since your debut album. What would a grown and seasoned Lyfe Jennings go back in time and tell a younger Lyfe Jennings about music and about creating? Is there anything you would tell him or anything you would change?
I wouldn't change a thing because I'm really happy right now, and I might not be happy if I go change something. So if I would, I just tell myself, keep living. Don't be scared to try new things, and don't be scared to go through those new things so you can come out of those new things and write about them.
So that's all we have for you. Anything you'd like to add?
Just want to say again, album coming out June 23rd. You can catch me on Instagram or Facebook. It's Lyfe Jennings. My Twitter is LifeOnline419. And also, man, I just appreciate everybody supporting me this long. And for the reason that you appreciated me and supported me is because of the in-depth and the realness of the music that I've given you. And my promise to you is that I'm going to continue to do that on this album and every album, that I'm blessed with.